at that time, 13, we moved from Soho to Tribeca,
Mm-hmm.
and I was walking down the street, and I believe Billy Hopkins saw me, or perhaps Weinstein. What I do know, I was shortly thereafter casted in the Cider House Rules, which Miramax produced.
Mm-hmm.
Simultaneously, Judith Bruce had 3 apartments on Greenwich Street: 3D, 3C, 3B. Now, we're talking years of corruption and cover-up to cover up this initial crime. I have evidence in writing, something Judith denies today, in her words, that she didn't want me speaking to the New York Times because she rented the 3B apartment to Miramax in the early 90s. Now, at what age was I in the early 90s? 13.
13 years.
At what age did I do the Cider House Rules, produced by Weinstein? 13. See?
Yes.
So, I also have a statement from my friend who wishes to remain anonymous, but I believe will testify need be, that the 3 apartments were connected, and he rented the 3B when I was probably around 17, and that Judith offered to lower his rent if he spied on me. So this kind of invasion of my privacy, trafficking, people being paid to watch over me started happening in my childhood. It's just so horrifying, you know? Um, so I have these things in writing. What I do know is Judith has since sold the 3B apartment to a Chinese people. I
Mm-hmm.
do know in 2017, during the Me Too movement, I have the police photos. She built walls in front of those doors to cover up her crime. There's a famous Tina Barney photo, she can't get taken off the web, where you see-through glass doors. You can't deny
Yes,
it. It's
yes,
in the
yes.
museum. And I have all the evidence to back up my allegations. Okay, and I will note for the last time, I went to a journalist long before the Me Too
Me Too
movement.
movement. Mm-hmm.
I got fired from Boardwalk Empire, and I got blackmailed into making Nurse 3D, and I got hit by a truck.
Tell me about that experience. Tell me what happened that day.
Well, I mean, it's so traumatic to talk about, but I will just say I didn't want to make the movie. And at this point, what I would hope, I will just note, sorry to get off track. When the
No.
Epstein files were released the other day, okay, very clearly there was a voice memo from Judith Bruce to Jeffrey Epstein, which was listened by the government on August 25th, 2019. Listened by the government. That doesn't mean it was received by the government on that date. It could have been received a lot sooner, because what I do know is apparently Jeffrey Epstein was murdered in August 10th, I believe, 2019. I
Mm-hmm.
happen to think he might still be alive in Israel. I actually believe that. Um, but what I will say is this lunatic, Judith Bruce, who has not left me in peace for 41 fucking years. I filed for orders of protection in Spain 4 years ago, by the way. There's an investigation in France right now, and there's a case in Madrid for the trafficking that happened 4 years ago. Writes me a letter. I was told to have no contact with these Satanists because they're dangerous. Say, her phone is tapped and blah, 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 blah. I make sure, because I have dealt with this family my entire life, and, you know, let's say easily over a dozen assassination attempts. I make sure to screenshot everything. That voicemail has been taken down. Even in the voice memo, it says from Judith, and it's her number, 571-7378. It says, is she speaking about Epstein or Weinstein? It's very clear. And it's very clear that it was from Judith Bruce to Jeffrey Epstein. Now, the government has got to stop protecting criminals.
Paz, did you ever meet him? Did you ever meet Epstein?
Well, in the files, he says he was at a party. He saw this actress, Paz de la Huerta, and she doesn't look very healthy. I mentioned a few times in the Epstein files, and I made sure to screenshot everything because I'm well aware of the kind of people I'm dealing with. I'll just, since we have a little, some time, I'm going to tell you all the connections in the Epstein files to my family.
Tell me.
My
We have all the
father's
time in the world. Don't.
my father's best friend, and mind you, I was a victim of my father as well, is a man named Arnaud Brunel. You know who Jean-Luc Brunel is? This man is synonymous with Epstein. Arnaud Brunel is his brother. My dad lives with him in France. Now, to say that my family is tied to Epstein is an understatement. These people are one and the same. And Christina, my godmother, she tapped her mother's phone lines and stole $600 million. What everybody knows about Epstein is all his money was stolen too. These people come from a school of thought that is satanic. They normally go to Ivy League schools and they're trained in corruption. This is what they do. And they all know one another and they're all associated with one another. You know, in the Epstein files, Jeffrey, I read the emails and I've screenshotted everything. He said he was was interested in buying the property on 90th Street that belonged to Aimee. Aimee was my great aunt. Christina was her ugly daughter who stole all that money. And then he said he was interested in buying the property in Palm Beach, which Christina also stole. There's a million connections. Arnaud Brunel, I filed a lawsuit in France against my father and Judith for incest because my mother also sexually abused me. Arnaud Brunel is synonymous with Jean-Luc Brunel. C'est ton frère. It's his brother. This is Uncle Arnie. This is Uncle Arnie. So now I have to think, with the release of all this exposed, when I have suffered probably a dozen assassination attempts, of course Epstein has been behind it.